Kiele, JAEL. I am a nutritional wellness chef and a sensuality coach for women. Today I want to talk about something that people really dread, but is very much a part of everyday life. I want to talk about washing dishes and how to enjoy it. Dishwashing is a very underrated and overlooked part of the entire cooking process. I think there is an art to it, and it can be very pleasurable if you allow it to be. It helps me cook more mindfully, and it helps me handle my dishes with more care. I look at all my dishes as tools. I would never want to ruin any of my tools or treat them badly. This is an opportunity for you to honor what you have and declare them as important. So to me, it's all about the process and the elements. So you have the washing accessories, which are your sponge or your brushes, and of course you have the soap. Choose any kind of soap that you like and what works for you. And then you have your drying accessories, so whether that be a dish rack or a dish mat or a dishwasher, and of course your hand towels and dish towels, which I think are very important. And you also have the washing area, which are the sink, whether they be a single basin or a double basin, it really doesn't matter. Other accessories that I like to use are an apron where I just tie it in the front, and then I use the string sort of as a hanger for a hand towel so I can wipe my hands at any time. So I make sure I have a hand towel as well as dish towels to use. And when it comes to products that you use for dishwashing, there really is no perfect product. It really should be something that speaks to you and that you like. I really, really like this bottle. I've had it for many years. I like using clear dish soap. I love getting clear dish soap and filling it in this. For me, it just encourages me to be in this space and enjoy the dishwashing and honor the process. Let's go over the tools. So I have a few sponges and brushes and some drying towels to show you. So this is just a regular sponge. I get these in either a 2-pack or a 4-pack. It has an abrasive side and it has a soft side. I also have, a more abrasive one that works wonders. This is a chain metal scrubber, and I love this because this is for some pots and pans that really need a good beating, and you can use minimal soap with this, if none at all. So this is really great for cast iron, it's great for a steel pan, it's great for some glass bowls with gunk in it that is a little bit tough to take out, and you don't mind scratching so much. It doesn't really scratch very much at all, but it just does a really good job at taking out some really, hard gunk on anything pretty much. But I bought this for my cast iron because you don't need soap with this, like I said, so I love that one. I also have this for, some bottles. It's really helpful to stick these in a bottle and just put some soap at the end of it. And then I also have skinnier ones for harder to reach areas, which I don't use these that often, but they come in handy once in a while. And then I have 2 kinds of dish towels and drying towels. So this one I just get on Amazon in bulk. I like these because they do the job really well, and they're great for both cleaning up in the kitchen and drying. And then I have a bunch of these, and as you can see, the texture, it's just a little bit nubbier and more absorbent. So these are really good for different types of dishes that you don't want any streaks on and you want them to absorb pretty well. Coming into the kitchen and seeing all these dishes can be pretty discouraging, but really work to shift your mindset and look at all of these things as your tools to live a healthier lifestyle, and also to love what you cook and love nourishing yourself and honoring that these plates and these utensils have helped you do so. The reality of the fact is your kitchen is your domain. It should be a place of calm and peace and enjoyment and nourishment. So dishwashing is a really big part of that. So I think learning how to clean dishes really well and enjoy the process is super important. So now I'm going to get started on the mess. And what I like to do first is assess the situation and organize as best as possible. So I notice here I have some dishes in all parts of the countertop and in both basins of the sink. I also have some glassware that I want to organize together. And then I also have some knives, and these I always keep separate. So I want to make sure that I organize it as best as possible. So what I like to do is create little like basins for everything. So I can take a bowl like this, clean it out, and what I like to do is put it in the right side of the sink, and this will be my clean area, and then the left side will be the dirty dishes area. So I'm going to work to just clean this up as much as possible. When I see utensils, and I have a ton of them everywhere, what I like to do is take either a cup just like this and gather all of them together and just rinse them off and put them all in here. That really helps to create like just a space for all of them to soak while I organize all the dishes, and as I go, that really is super helpful. Another thing that I think is helpful is making sure that the water running isn't so loud and it has this nice calming sound and feel. And even if you want, if it's too much to put it on something that is making it very loud and it doesn't sound good to you, try putting it on in another bowl or somewhere that will. This sound to me is a really beautiful, very flowy, calming sound. It kind of sounds like a water sculpture. I love that. Another thing is take a look and see what is crusty and what is going to take a lot of time to take off and what needs soaking. So this in particular, this is a little bit crusty. I can already kind of tell it's going to take some time, so I want to definitely soak this. And once you start to organize yourself and assess, it really will become a much more fun experience for you. And as you're cooking, and when you have a clean kitchen and a clean sink, you can start to lay some dishes down, rinse them off, start to organize them on your own, and it's a much more enjoyable experience. I just decided to do this video now because I just had everything everywhere, and it was kind of a great opportunity to show you exactly how to handle a situation like this and do it with pleasure and joy. I just ran the garbage disposal to make sure that the right basin was clean, and what I'm going to do is wash this bowl, and I'm going to put it down in the bottom of the sink and fill it with soapy water, because then I can use that to dip my sponge in and be able to clean everything accordingly. So that's just an easier process. It's really nice to have a vessel like this to have some soapy water in. I don't mind if it's overflowing a little bit in the bowl. I actually think that's quite nice, and like I said, the sound is really pleasurable. So all glassware I empty out and I just put on the side, because that's an entirely different kind of dish. So I like to do that separately, and it's just better to organize as you go and without getting too overwhelmed about it. I realized what is taking up the most space. It's all the juicing accessories. So I'm going to take those out. So now I'm a bit more organized. I had to empty everything out of the left part of the sink, and I'm going to fill this cup with water and some soap, and this is where all the utensils are going to go. And I place that in the left part of the sink, and I'm going to take all the utensils and put them in. So once I get to the point where I have knives, I mean, first of all, I never put knives in the sink. To me, that's a big no-no. You know, these are my favorite tools, and they're essential to cooking, and so it's always good to keep them sharp and away from everything. It's just for better practice and safety. So whenever I see knives, I always do them separately and first. So put some soap, put some water, and then I make sure that I pinch it and get everything off as best as possible. Even when I'm using knives, it's always good to clean them right away and then store them right away. So I just rinse it off as best as possible and take the time to feel if the knife is clean. You know, this is my most prized possession for a lot of cooks out there. It's theirs as well. So I just take the time to make sure that it looks clean. Yes, it does. So I'll take a dish towel and just wipe it off, and I'll immediately store it in the knife drawer. If there's room on a drying rack and you know that works for you, then you can just put it out on the drying rack as well. So if you have a pot with some crud in it and you need to rinse it out, you know, make sure you do that on the opposite side of the sink, or try not to get it in your bowl with clean water and soap in it, because that's really gonna obviously contaminate it. So just be mindful of that. This is a good example of where to use the chain link scrubber. So I don't even need a lot of soap. I just take this and just scrub all in it, and it completely takes it off. It's so much easier to work with, and it's easy to clean, which is great. Just rinses right off. I really love washing dishes using all of my senses. So whether it be hearing the flow of the water and seeing the dish that I love go from dirty to clean, and feeling the water on my hands and feeling the dish just looking really beautiful, and feeling how smooth it is after you use it. It really helps improve my relationship with cooking, my kitchen, and cleanup. So now I'm on to glass. And so this is a different category because it's a different material. It's 100% breakable. So it's very different from something like a cup or a plate. So I always do these separately and make sure I finish them and get them out of the way. So what I'll do is I'll just take the time to rinse this out as best as possible. Take my soapy sponge, go inside. The thing about glass is obviously you can see in it and through it, so it's easy to see if it's clean or not. And so I just make sure I handle it with a lot of care. Look and analyze and see how clean it is, and then I put it upside down so it can dry and just drip dry. And that'll take a few minutes or so. I like to dry in the dishwasher, and so I clear everything out. And for me, it helps to organize everything. So glasses of all the same type and size at the top, utensils on one side, any plastic elements, obviously they go upside down so they can drip down, and all the plates on one side as well, and pots and pans. So I like to organize it as best as possible, and it just helps visually be more pleasing, and it's just a good practice. This process has really helped me shift my perspective on enjoying cooking way more, and it's helped me create a much more central flow in my kitchen, and it's also helped me improve my dishwashing abilities, because I have to admit I'm not the best dishwasher. And even though I grew up in a house where we washed our dishes all the time, it wasn't my strong suit. So me being very intentional about it and working to make it a process that I enjoy and gives me pleasure has really helped me so much. And especially when you understand that it is the last process in the entire cooking process, and it deserves to be honored and enjoyed. Another tip I can tell you is keep your drains as clean as possible. It helps with the water flow, and it helps keep your sink clean all the time. Another thing is, before you cook, it's always helpful to have your sink clear and clean of dishes, even your dishwasher and your dish rack, because then you can be much more intentional and organize it as you cook and as you flow. It's much easier. So now I'm getting to the utensils. It's just so much easier to soak it in something so that way it comes out really clean. Whenever you come across wood, I recommend also doing this separately. Wood is very porous and it absorbs water and it breaks really easily, and I love wood accessories, especially cutting boards. So do your best to scrub and clean it off as best as possible, and once they're clean, I immediately dry it and set it aside separately because it needs some air to dry and I want to preserve them as best as possible. So that's a good tip on wood. Last thing to do is wipe down your entire kitchen surface and around your sink with the dish towel, and just make sure your sink and your drain are clean. It's really important to do that. I find lots of pleasure in it. Again, this is your Zen zone, it's your domain. Keep it as clean and as clear as possible. Once you're finished with your sponges and your scrubbers, wash out your sponge with cold water. This will get that sour smell out of it and that like gross bitter smell out of it. It should be cold water because heat tends to trap all the scents, so cold is best. And then I like to keep all of my scrubbers and sponges together in just like a little organized little container. And I like this one from Joseph. To me, it's the best one, and it keeps everything clear and out of the way. So there you have it. I hope that you found this video to be helpful, and I hope you enjoyed watching how to wash dishes with pleasure, and hopefully you can apply it to your life and that can improve for you. Last thing, I really like to have some hand cream or hand lotion right next to the sink, so then that way once I'm done and my hands are dry, all I have to do is just take a little bit of it and put it on my hands. I just find that keeping your hands well moisturized is so important for their health and your skin, and it just feels really good. It's like the finishing touch to the final process. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, click like, and then also subscribe to my channel for more content like this on how to live with sensual flow and how to live as holistically and healthily as possible. Take care.